FM 1019, FM 100.5, wgnsradio.com. The Good Neighbor Network.
First Shot, growing in Christ with life and athletic skills.
So we teach God's Word at everything we do to implant it in them so that they understand that the only way to get through the world is with God on their side.
First Shot founder and executive director Andy Herzer.
Our focus is on our inner city here at Patterson Park.
From academics to athletics, First Shot's focus is toward building a stronger, more courageous spirit to face opportunities and obstacles that our youth confront every day. To find out more about First Shot, go to firstshottn.org.
For 75 years, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic has been a cornerstone of health and compassion in our community. From our humble beginnings to the advanced, comprehensive care we offer today, our commitment to you has never wavered. With 8 locations across Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee and over 100 physicians, we continue to provide the highest standard of care. Then, now, and always, your health is our mission.
Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
And a pleasant good morning to you. Welcome to the Roundtable. I'm John Dinkins. I guess I'm subbing for Andy Herzer today. Andy had some other prior obligations. And so I went out and I thought for guests I would go out and just reach into the foundation of Rutherford County to veterans of education. And Butch Vaughn, and he's been on your show a lot, I know, Brian, and Butch Campbell. And we're gonna talk about a lot of things, but we were just sitting here before the show started talking about the old Murfreesboro and some of the things that we used to do and could do, and now we can't do it all. And so it's quite a bit. But well, welcome to the show, guys. I appreciate you all coming in.
Thank you. We're glad to be here.
Thank you, John.
You know, we go back a long way. I'm gonna tell you how it starts with me. I was 10 years old, or 11, 12 years old, and Butch Campbell was a referee in basketball back over at Critchlow. You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And he almost threw me out of a game once, but I was good the rest of the time. But that old floor, we'd dribble on that floor, and it would bounce and go off, and you have to call walking or traveling or something in it. But that was where I first met you. And now, Butch Vaughn, why did I get two guests with both names Butch? Okay, but Butch Vaughn, I know him mainly. I started knowing your brother, Chuck, and through my brother David in the police department. But then I got into education, and all the years you were at Central, and you know, it's time has flown by, fellas. I mean, it really has.
It has.
I've caught up with y'all in age-wise too. You know that? Have you noticed that?
I don't imagine that's hardly right, but that you can pretend like it is.
Yeah.
Did you both of you guys, were you both at Central together? Did that I thought that was right. And you coached football, and did you do football, or were you just in the classroom at the time?
When we were teaching?
Uh-huh.
No, I didn't coach anything. I did
you were
social studies, and then was head of the pre-vocational program we had for 3 years.
And you were officiating too at night. So,
yes.
And we talked about your schedule. So you've been through Central High School and Central Middle for you, Butch. I mean, it's so you and I know you got a Central Magnet shirt on too. So I know it's that runs deep for you, Central, right? I mean, it should.
Let me tell you a story about Central. Critchlow. I just started my teaching career and hadn't graduated yet. Mr. Hopgood had a teacher leave, Roy Wright. He up and left, and it was the end of October. My mother was secretary to Mr. Hopgood. She called me and she said, "Hey, will you go up there and sub?" And I was still in college. And I thought, well, yeah, it'd be nice to get a little bit of money. So I went up and subbed, and my classroom was right underneath the gym. And you're talking about the floor, with the dead places. when those kids would run, dust would fall down from the ceiling in my room. And old Roger Hedrick was the basketball coach. And Roger would do a full court press, and he taught the kids to make the other team run down where the dead spots were. So, when they hit that dead spot, the ball wouldn't come up like it would. But yeah, that was pretty good.
I was always wondering why the city used Crislow as the place for city recreation. I mean, you would think there was another place besides that one, but I remember I have great memories of that. I know McFadden had a balcony, and I think they made that into a library or something now, but they had a balcony. But you started officiating. What year? How old were you when you started? Because you had to be really young to do that.
I started in 1968, I think, or 69.
Oh, so that was your first year or two when you had me. You had to deal with me, I guess. That's right, because I was 12 or 13 at the time.
Yeah.
The
the reason they played at Crislow, John, may have been because of course, the Crislow had a balcony as well, and that's where all the spectators sat, was in the balcony.
Right.
So there wasn't any spectators on the floor level at all.
I think I didn't get a technical from him. I did get a warning, but I was okay.
Long as you learn from the warning, that's what is important.
That's right. Now, how you and I got together, really, I guess, in terms of education. And I can tell this story now. I was at Bedford County, couldn't get a job, couldn't get a high school job. I had a secondary degree in history, and so I went back the summer before, and got my elementary certification, and bam, the phone started ringing. Well, this guy right here calls me at my school. I'm at Bedford County. I'm at Unionville, and I'm teaching PE, and I was an interim. And he called me he called the office, called Don Shelton's office, and got me on the phone. And I'm sitting there in his office. I don't know that you realize that I was in his office. And he said, I would like to hire you, blah, 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 blah. Can you come for an interview? And I said, well, when do you want me to come? He said, this afternoon. And I said, well, yeah, I guess I can. He said, so they had a meeting, and we had an interview and got the job. I didn't know I had it, but he called me back the next day and said, I need you to start tomorrow. And I said, well, I'm tongue tied. And he said, just turn around and tell Mr. Shelton that you've got a job in Rutherford County. He'll understand. You're an interim. And I mean, he guided me through that, and I turned around, I did it, and I was like, okay. So that was the start of, a long career, and you just never know when that call is going to come.
Well, I hired you because your father was Santa Claus for so many of us and so many youngsters, and I was afraid to not do what he wanted done.
Afraid you would get sticks
for
Christmas time. And that was, 79, I guess. And you had been at Walter Hill for how long then?
I went out there in 78.
Yeah, okay. All right. I didn't realize you were a rookie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And Butch, Butch V, your call to administration came a little bit later because you were involved in coaching at Central High School too for a long time.
Right. And then Central High School, they closed it up in 72. And Mr. Tenpenny was the principal at the new principal at Central Middle School. And he hired me to come up there and teach. And it's amazing because he broke a paddle over me when I was a senior.
Yeah.
He made it just especially, got us the last day of school. Because he said, I know I had never caught you, but I wasn't on the one. But he said, I knew that I had never caught you, but I knew you did things. So this is a paddling for that. And so anyway, and then he hired me, and I thought, I don't know whether to remind him of that or not, but anyway, yeah, we went middle school, and it was probably the biggest middle school in the state. Cause, there was everybody in Murfreesboro came through there.
Yeah.
Well, now you started about the same way I did. I started on a Wednesday teaching at Bradley and graduated on Saturday. And Mr. Hopgood called me and offered me a position. And he said, now, Butch, the kids have already run off the teacher. She's not coming back.
Yeah.
And the sub has been there 2 weeks and she's not coming back. Do you want it? And I said, well, yes, sir. Because I was married, had a child, I needed a job. But that was before the year before integration. And I had some wonderful students, Leo Martin and his brother Cleo and Bobby Smith, and just a bunch of kids that were just really
Great kids.
Great
right.
kids. They just, I guess I was young and I had not forgotten how we behaved in the 8th grade, so it wasn't anything unusual.
Well, in regard to that, talking about, if we're going to talk about how we started, I had I think 7 classes at Walter Hill with no planning period. He told me that up front. He said, you will have no planning period. You got 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes after lunch. And you know what? Back then, you didn't complain about that. You wanted to. I mean, you wanted to work.
Yeah.
You had a job, and that was the most important thing. And he promised, later on I'd be able to get a planning period. But I would have painted the school if he'd have wanted me to, just to get into Rutherford County and get a job back then.
And how many students did you have in the class?
Oh, probably 30, 32.
30 or 35, yeah.
We were overcrowded at Walter Hill. We were really having a strain, and that's one of the reasons I got a job. And I remember you put me out on bus duty in the morning at the new gym, and it didn't have an awning, so I was there most days with an umbrella ready just in case, But I guess all of us have done something like that. I mean, some area that you go, maybe you weren't proficient in or that kind of thing, but you had to, because that's what you had to do.
And you love teaching. I mean, we all did it because we loved it, And we didn't know. It didn't matter, You were glad to have a job.
Do you remember what your salary was when you started?
I remember the first check I got. I didn't have a checking account, didn't have a car really, and I think it was $300-something cash I put in my pocket.
Wow.
My first contract was $4,800 a year. That's $480 a month.
Of course, it went further back then.
Oh yeah.
But the excitement of it and the love of it. I don't know where we lost that somewhere. We'll talk about that later in the show. But how things have changed. But every one of us, I guess. Did you ever get paddled? Did you ever get paddled?
I did one time.
Yeah.
When I was a junior, I guess, maybe in high school, we had. Your 4th period class also included lunchtime. In our class, we had class for a little while, and then we went to lunch, and we came back and finished up. And Eloise Womack was our English teacher. And there would be some that would be late coming back after lunch, and she'd send them to the office. They'd come back with a late permit. And one day there were 5 of us. I don't remember who else was in the bunch, but she sent us to the office. Well, we got down there, and all of them were playing sports but me. And Mr. Blair, I believe it was, before he passed away, maybe.
Yeah.
He said, you're going to stay in after school for an hour. And well, you didn't stay after school, miss practice with Mr. Pate. So they all said, can we take a paddle? And he said, yes. So I said, well, shoot fire, I might as well do it too. And we all 5 of us took a paddle and went back into Miss Womack's classroom, holding our rear ends and just making a big deal out of it. And she got mad. And she stormed out of that room and went to the office. They said she was crying before she got to the office because she had sent all these kids beforehand, and they'd gotten a late permit, and they paddled us. But that was
paddling. Mine came at Buchanan. I was in the 5th grade, and my dad was principal there. And they had a little inkwell back. They had the old desk with the inkwell in it, and so we were tying the girls' hair because all the girls had long hair. We were tying the girls to the table, and they would, when they got up, me and 2 other guys got caught, And we're walking to the principal's office, and he goes, "Hey, it's okay. You know, John's dad's the principal. He'll be able to get us out." I went, "Boy, are you thinking the wrong thing?" I said, "Not only am I going to get paddled, I'm going to go first, and he's going to tell you how hard that is." And I mean, it stung. But you know, my own dad. I mean, that's why. But he had. I know we're telling like these are stories that people are going, "What?" But he paddled them with a board. And he took his belt off for me, and you know that's how things have changed. But at the time, it was probably the best lesson ever learned. But I knew it was coming. I definitely knew it was coming. You're on the school board, county school board. You're city director, school director, and when you look at the things now, I guess from what way they were then. We just told a story about the way it was then. It's got to be it's a whole new ball game, isn't it? I mean, it really is.
Well, you know, we're having a policy committee meeting tonight, and one of the things that's going to come up is cell phones and dealing with that. And you know, when we were in school, you didn't have to worry about things like that. I mean, weapons weren't a problem,
right?
I mean, cell phones, we didn't even know what they were. We didn't have them. But one, we couldn't afford. Parents couldn't afford them.
Well, they weren't out there.
Yeah, and you know, it just the social media impact it's had on schools is, to me, I think, is one of the biggest problems because kids get bullied all the time socially. I mean, back when Butch and I were in school, it was like, if you had a problem with somebody, you had to come up and look them in the eye and, you know, and you'd settle it. Nowadays, all this social media has caused so many problems. And, you know, it just, I don't know, you look back and you think, man, how have we digressed to the point it is now from where it was when we were in school?
And I guess if you think about it, you know, you think, well, the cell phone and that's progress, you know, technology-wise and that kind of thing. But in other words, it does have some harmful side effects to those kind of things, and even computers and that kind of thing too.
I think the cell phone is a big thing nowadays. In different school systems, you know, the state has come out saying that you've got to have a policy now on cell phones. And one school may do it one way, another school may do it another way.
Yeah.
And one system will do it one way and one another. You know, our policy on cell phones may not be the same policy as Rutherford County, but that's just the difference. And a lot of that has to do with the age of the child too. We don't have the problems in the city system that they have in the county system because we don't have 7th and 8th grade and we don't have high school. And that causes a lot of problems down through the times, but it's a different world, it sure is. And I'm a firm believer that people today, young people, get ideas from cell phones, internet. They see somebody maybe goes in and steals a candy bar, and they think, well, they can do it, I can do it too, and then they go do it, and then bingo, somebody gets caught.
TikTok is bad. TikTok is bad.
Yeah. Something pops up, and nobody controls it. You know, when you get some new technology, AI is going to be the same way. I think you better have some rules and regulations, you know, somewhere along the line.
You know, we grew up in such a great time. We really did. I think we grew up in the best of times. It's just hard to accept. You know, you talk about paddling, you know, we knew there was accountability for things we did. If you did wrong, just like Butch said, you know, get paddling just for being late. But there was accountability for that.
Yeah.
And now there's not a lot of accountability. You know, things that kids are having to be accountable for, nowadays they don't care. But man, you walk away from that paddling, but if you wanted more of that, you were either stupid or you were tough as pine knots.
We're talking to Butch Vaughn and Butch Campbell. Go ahead.
One paddling per young man ought to be enough.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Right.
And Brian, you walked in. Have you ever been paddled? Yeah, don't stop.
Yes.
He tells that story, and it's sad.
I was in a 4th and 5th grade class. They had the split class, and we were in a closet, Mr. Campbell, in the old Walter Hill building. In a closet, of all places. Yeah.
It was a big closet.
You had to make do, man.
I know. Thanks, Mr.
So
Bailey.
what'd you do?
I didn't do anything. I was totally innocent.
Oh, I know.
We heard that story.
How many times?
Wow, even you, Brian, I can't believe it. I'm telling you. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back more with Butch Vaughn and Butch Campbell here on the Roundtable.
For 75 years, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic has been a cornerstone of health and compassion in our community. From our humble beginnings to the advanced, comprehensive care we offer today, our commitment to you has never wavered. With 8 locations across Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee and over 100 physicians, we continue to provide the highest standard of care. Then, now, and always, your health is our mission. Clinic has been a cornerstone of health and compassion in our community. From our humble beginnings to the advanced, comprehensive care we offer today, our commitment to you has never wavered. With 8 locations across Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee and over 100 physicians, we continue to provide the highest standard of care. Then, now, and always, your health is our mission.
There's a lot going on here. Entertainers come in 3 or 4 times a week. I'm Greg Shannon. Come and check out Adam's Place. Of all the places we checked, it was by far the most comfortable. People make a difference in your life. And here, when we first got here, they come up and said, hey, join us for dinner. They just want you to be part of the community, It just feels so welcoming.
I'm Terry Deal. Call me about Adam's Place. Phone 615-904-9111. Memorial Boulevard, across from Walmart.
Good Neighbor Events is brought to you by the law offices of John Day, AmeriCare Pest Control, and Old National Bank.
In today's changing world, you need a financial planner that you're comfortable with. Rely on the bonds that you've built with trusted friends at Old National Bank on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard here in the borough. And if you just moved here, visit us and enjoy warm, homemade cookies.
Honey, the cookies are ready.
Like Grandma used to make. Old National Bank. We're better together.
2230 Dr. MLK Jr. Boulevard. Old National Bank, member FDIC.
Welcome to the heart of Tennessee, and thanks for tuning to WGNS. Maybe you're new to the area and would like to learn more about our local history. Well, come on over to the one-room Ransom Schoolhouse this Saturday, anytime between 9 o'clock in the morning until noon. It's all free, including the coffee and donuts. The Rutherford County Historical Society is there to talk about local history. The one-room Ransom Schoolhouse is at 717 North Academy Street. That's this Saturday. Greenhouse Ministries Fix-It Fair is Saturday, 8 in the morning until noon. It's all free. They'll show you how to make repairs around the home. And bring your bicycle, because they'll also fix that too. Come early and enjoy a pancake breakfast. That's this Saturday from 8 in the morning until noon at Greenhouse Ministries. They're at 307 South Academy Street in Murfreesboro. And the Red Cross is still critically low on blood. Phone the Red Cross at 800-RED-CROSS and make an appointment to give the gift of life at a time that fits your schedule. From News Radio WGNS, those are Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
A heat advisory will go into effect here this afternoon. We'll see a few scattered showers and storms possible late this afternoon. A blend of clouds and sunshine develops with a high in the mid-90s. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS.
Currently, it's 77.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. Seriously looking at solar power generation? MTE offers a free consultation with an energy expert and has an entire library of educational resources. To learn more, visit mte.com/prosolar.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
And we're back with the Roundtable. John Dinkins talking to two, well, how do I put it? Legends? Is that too much? That's too much.
That's probably a lot.
Butch Vaughn and Butch Campbell. And I, with your long career, notice I emphasize long, what made you all get back into this? You know, you retired several years ago, but you've almost been with the city school system on the board since you retired, basically.
Before I retired, I was elected to the board the first time in 2008, and I really wanted to do it before that, but Jamie, my wife, didn't much want me to, and finally, the year I was elected, was the thing that I was more concerned about was communication and the voice of teachers and all employees. I'm a big supporter of the cafeteria, the custodial staff. You know, every year we always talk about the teachers, but there are other people, as you both know, in that building that are an integral part of how well that school runs. So, but anyway, I was elected in 2008, and
janitors and custodians and cafeteria workers can make or break you, really. I mean, they really can.
Butch and I both were taught and raised that to respect everybody. And, you know, I think it's one thing that helped us be successful as principals. We valued those people. I mean, we valued the guys that opened the door in the morning just as much as I did any teacher in the building, because it takes everybody. If you don't have that, if you don't have the secretary and the cafeteria people and custodians, they got to be as good as any teacher you got.
And they're as much of an integral part on how well that building runs every day as the principal is.
You know, we tend to overlook those people sometimes, and we always get the argument too. You have a really good teacher, you want to hang on to that teacher. I mean, I know you do, and we don't have the power basically to show our appreciation as much as we wish they could. They don't get paid enough. I think that's a general consensus. But it's hard to not show favoritism. But but sometimes, I don't know, as a principal, I think it may punish them, because I would put that good teacher in a class that had a couple of kids I need to get straightened out. I knew they could do it. They could do the job. Right. And that's my only regret, that I didn't do more for those really solid teachers that worked day in, day out.
Well, they're all, you know, it's a one big team, John, and you know this, and it takes everybody on that team, everybody in that building, to open that building up in the morning and close it down in the afternoon successfully.
Well, I personally took it as a compliment. If you gave me somebody that, you know, I've got a class in particular I could talk about all day long. It was the last period of the day, and it was the worst class, really. But I took the challenge. I mean, and they turned out, they loved me and I loved them, and one of the best classes I ever had. And I've got memories of those kids, and they still remember me when they come by. You just never know. But I mean, I think sometimes you got to look at, I think teachers need to look at that as a challenge and a compliment, a tremendous compliment, although you got to work hard as a result of it sometimes. Yeah. Go ahead.
You know, it was a challenge. And I think that was the thing, that we didn't see it as a challenge. I mean, I'm like you. We took it as a compliment, that, you know, and it was like, hey, you know, we just valued that. That's the way we were raised, you know, that you to do whatever, you know, you took the job to do, and it didn't bother us.
You know, we have, when in our day, and I think you hit it on the nail on the head earlier, when we lived in the best of times. We have lived, the three of us, and maybe me a little bit on the younger end of it, but we have lived we had the rotary phone to now what we have now. We've seen everything. We've seen computers come in and go even more so. Big screen TVs.
We even had telephones where you picked it up and somebody said, "Number, please."
Yeah. And remember, you had
and the party line.
That's exactly right. And I was talking the other day. Do you remember the old mimeograph machines where I love the smell of those papers coming through there. I said, how did we do that?
Purple ink.
Yeah.
And you had to hand crank the machine.
Yeah. And you get up about 120 copies. And those last copies were so dim.
Yeah.
But you only had a certain amount of money in the account to use. And you were only given so many dittos and things like that. And the smell. We used to get them just smell them because, they smell different than anything else, like smelling gas.
Oh, I know. It was all, and we would. I remember putting tests up on the board, like writing the test on the board, on the chalkboard, and I'd come home just chalk dust all over me and that kind of thing.
But then you got to where you had the overhead projector and you could write it out on that piece of cellophane or whatever that, and put it on the overhead projector, and it would, that saved a little bit.
Brian tells a story because Randy King was his math teacher, and it said Randy would have we call them overhead projector scars, where all the ink was on there. And I loved the overhead projector too. I mean, that was a huge. I remember you could put stencils and put them up there. That was a huge thing there. That was one of the best inventions ever.
It was. It sure was.
And
but nowadays they have the what? Not the.
Well, I know
put
with
it on the screen,
computer,
computer generated stuff.
And computers really made a difference in education, but I know that's been a struggle to get computers, because of the money situation in it. And, by the time you get one set of computers in, then it's time to get another program. And that's been an ongoing, and really up the cost in education, right?
Well, we just got through the budget process that the county commission, thank goodness, approved. But so much of that budget is for replacement of computers, student computers. Mm-hmm. We got the one-on-one thing, and Butch and them do the same thing. That basically every kid's got a computer. And if you don't have one, you can't do
the work.
Everybody's got to have it now. And everybody's got to have access to the internet. When it first came out, people in the rural areas had no access to it, to the internet. And this computer generated, I remember I been teaching MTSU, and this AI thing came about, and kids that couldn't write a lick all of a sudden had the greatest. They'd turn in a report on something, it'd be just perfect, and they're like I was. They weren't smart enough to realize that, hey, you went from not being able to write a lick to now you're. Man, this is published area because AI generated, and they figured it out that they'd get this AI to write their papers.
Yeah, you basically tell it what to do, and it does it. Yeah.
I don't know how you're going to overcome that. Because kids figure it out. I promise you. And
I can remember years ago when I was in college, and it wasn't AI, but it was. And I wrote a lot of stuff and copied stuff, but I got the paper back and didn't have a very good grade on it because the teacher said it's against the law to have plagiarism.
Yeah.
I got caught.
Well, and that's when I go back to AI. I mean, really. Yeah. But now, Cliff Notes, remember we used to?
Gosh,
yeah. And I don't know how teachers could figure out that you use Cliff Notes, but they always could. I did want to mention a few names from the past, and you mentioned Eloise Womack, a wonderful lady. I was her teacher's aide. That was a big thing in high school. You get to be a teacher's aide. And Marie Miller was there at Riverdale with me, and I was her teacher's aide. And I have such great memories of them. Pat Parker. I'm just throwing names out there. I know you worked with several, and you can't name certain ones, I know, because you'd be leaving somebody out. But just all the relationships, that has to be so special. All the relationships you've made, and you still are, very close with them.
I'll tell you that one lady that really stuck out with me was Miss Jackson. She was a typing teacher.
Oh, I loved Miss Jackson.
And she told me, you know, because I was trying to, I took typing just, I just wanted to get an easy course, I thought.
Yeah, you thought.
Boy, man, she'd wear you out. But really, she told me, she said, you know, she said, you need to take another year of this because you're going to need this down the road. Because at that time, I didn't have a clue what I was going to do. But it's probably the best course. I got more out of it than any course I ever had.
I would definitely say the same thing. I had 2 years with her. And
she was phenomenal.
You remember JKL semicolon, push. And it was on a typewriter. But who knew that would help you with the computer, computer skills.
Well, and I never took typing. I guess I suffered from it.
You
today,
pick, don't you? You do the.
Pick. I don't. And I'm amazed, my Janie typed, but
You do the finger index thing, don't you?
Well, I've gotten pretty good.
Yeah, people get real good at that. But boy, I was so thankful for that.
Oh man,
that
just
class.
be able to, even now, just without even thinking about it, she made you do it so much repetition.
Oh yeah,
muscle memory. You can still do it. I mean, my age is not still.
Even if you haven't used a computer or a typewriter, would say 4 or 5 years, it comes back to you. It's like riding a bicycle. You never lose it.
Yeah. Well,
we go back and think of teachers that we had. High school, grammar school, Gosh, we had.
Marty McCullough was my 8th grade teacher.
Marty was a good one.
And he's the reason I got into education.
Ray Hughes.
Yeah.
Did you notice that you take things from other teachers? We steal. I mean, things that you do. I mean, they're just something, and the way you administrate. I mean, I'm sure you with Mr. Tenpenny and I don't know who you really worked under because I only worked under you, so I don't know who was your mentor as an administrator.
I worked under Carl Buckner for a year at Bradley before he went to Riverdale. Ms. Roberts, Mr. Tenpenny, James Hale, who was the assistant principal, who was a quality person.
First class.
Yes, sir.
But you took things from each one of them, I'm sure.
Some things you took from them that you didn't want to do because you didn't think it was right. But it's a learning process, whatever job you're into, I think. And I just hope young people today, do what you're talking about. Find somebody they can model themselves after a little bit and get some good ideas. Some things to do and maybe some things not to do.
Right. That's one thing that learning is things to do and what not to do. You can learn more. It's more important sometimes learning what not to do as it is what to do. Mm-hmm. But Butch and I basically grew up together all the way through school, and then we were taught, things to do and things not to do. And there were borders, But it's like kids nowadays don't have those borders, It's like you can do whatever you want to do. They feel like they're entitled to do things. And
do you think it's because they're not held responsible?
There's no accountability.
Yeah.
I mean, and I still do it, and you go to the doctor's office and the nurse comes out to get you and she holds the door open. And for the life of me, every time it's, no ma'am, you go first. Ladies go first in the South, I always say. That's just something that we were taught and we learned and we did.
It's second nature. We still do it,
Yeah, open a car door for a girl.
Yeah.
It times have changed. We're talking to Butch Campbell and Butch Vaughn here on the Roundtable. And what is one of your favorite, I guess, memories? Something that you did either annually as a principal or just something that you enjoyed, because I know both of you guys, y'all were not afraid to step out there a little bit.
I think some of the best memories I have are some of those years at Walter Hill, and one of the things I guess we did was sleeping on the roof. That was a big one.
Did they declare that illegal or no?
And we did that.
It was fun.
I remember one year we did that, and man, we could see the storm coming in. You could just see the black clouds. And
it's a cold front.
that night we actually went into the library and slept. The kid didn't know. We were back out the next morning.
Oh, we wouldn't have survived if we'd have stayed out there. I mean, we'd probably gotten killed.
And county maintenance actually brought us a lift out there, you remember?
Mm-hmm.
For us to get up on the roof so we didn't have to climb the ladder. I got 4x8 sheets of plywood from Smyrna High School and put up there so we'd all have a place. But that was
catered food. I mean, it was amazing. So that's one of your favorite. I'm glad to know I was part of that one.
Yeah, and we did that 2 or 3 years in a row, I guess.
I tell you the thing that I remember is these kids started coming in with their sagging pants.
Oh, God.
And I tell you, that nothing irritated me more. And I tell them, look, they don't pay me to look at your underwear. So I bought some of these past zip ties. And, man, I'd get them, and every one I'd catch, I'd pull them up above their waist. I'd tighten them suckers up so much. And my rule was, you got to come back to the end of the day and let me cut them off. If you didn't, I was going to see you the next day, and you was going to be paddled for it. And so, man, they'd come in there, and I'd have them hitched up so high. I mean, really, you can imagine. But, boy, and it took off like it did us more good than anything in this world. And so it spread, and everybody started doing it. You know, we were back then, all the middle school principals, we all worked together. And if a guy had a good idea, everybody would start doing it. Well, man, it was like wildfire. And that was great. Another time, I probably shouldn't tell this, but I was at Blackman Middle School, and we opened up over there, you know, and we had it was like 6 elementary schools came in there. And so you know how you do, you have to inherit the teachers too. But we were in the cheerleading group the first year, and they had a lot of helicopter mamas. And so they were griping and complaining constantly. Every day I'd get a phone call. So finally I called the girls in, and I said, look, if I get one more complaint about y'all, we're going to dissolve the cheerleading squad. And so they said, okay. So, man, we didn't go a week until we got a complaint. I called them back in. I said, look, by Friday, I want all uniforms clean and back in my office.
Wow.
And, buddy, let me tell you something. It went statewide because I told them no more cheerleading. Because the cheerleading sponsor, you know, I said, we don't have a coach. Y'all gripe so much and complain. She quit. We don't have a sponsor. We're not having. And they called the central office, said, oh, man, you know, just. And Harry Gill told them, said, hey, tough luck. You know, if you don't have a sponsor, you don't. So, and they supported me in that. And, buddy, I got phone calls from buddies all across the state. How in the world did you shut down cheerleading? And I said, and they still remember that.
I'm pretty surprised by that as well. We're Butch Vaughn, Butch Campbell are our guests. We're going to come back and wrap things up right after here on the Roundtable.
For 75 years, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic has been a cornerstone of health and compassion in our community. From our humble beginnings to the advanced, comprehensive care we offer today, our commitment to you has never wavered. With 8 locations across Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee and over 100 physicians, we continue to provide the highest standard of care. Then, now, and always, your health is our mission.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start August 13th. An accredited state university, University of Maryland Global Campus offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits towards a master's. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Insurance should be simple, not complicated. That's why at Rayburn Insurance, Agent Rick Hull cuts through the jargon and helps you understand your options clearly. He's committed to finding the right coverage that fits your unique needs and budget. Their team has been a trusted partner in the community since 1973. Ready to make insurance easy? Get with Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency. He's ready to help you get the protection you deserve.
This is Kim Dunaway from Sunshine Nutrition Center. You hear me on Monday mornings at 7:20 talking about how to lead a healthier lifestyle. We carry supplements, personal care, and grocery items at both our Murfreesboro and Smyrna locations, family owned and operated since 1989.
This is Hannah Bleem here at the Rutherford County Farmers Market. This year, the Farmers Market is celebrating 50 years of being open, and we're here to talk to different vendors today.
This is Angela Lance with Lance Family Produce. We're at the Rutherford County Farmers Market selling our fresh homegrown produce from our family to yours. We have tomatoes and potatoes and lettuce. We're getting ready to start our new summer crop, so things are going to be coming in new for the market. We've owned our family farm for 3.5 years. We do it all as a family unit. Even my little girl helps. We'll have many more options coming in the next coming weeks with Lance Family Produce. This is Angela Lance with Lance Family Produce. We're at the Rutherford County Farmers Market.
Thank you so much. The Rutherford County Farmers Market is open on Tuesdays and Fridays from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. at 315 John R. Rice Boulevard in Murfreesboro until October 31st.
Premier 6 Theater on Broad in Jackson Heights.
Let's all go to the movies.
Check out what's showing at murfreesboromovies.com. Popcorn popped fresh daily.
Movies at the good old
Premier 6 on Broad in Jackson Heights.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
It's back with you here on the Roundtable. This is substituting for Andy Herzer. And Andy, I guess, will be back next week. Do I get a nod to that? I guess he'll be back next Monday. Yeah. And you don't like to talk on this show, Brian. I don't understand why. But anyway, Butch Vaughn is our guest. Butch Campbell, my guest. And I wanted to talk, and I know you have a story. I want to save it because I want to get in one thing. Something dear to my heart is the county elementary basketball tournament.
Oh, boy.
You know,
Yep.
Butch, you were very involved in that for years at Central Middle.
Yep.
You were involved as a principal at Walter Hill. I got to be the commissioner after we left Central. I got to be the commissioner one year. That was fun. I had it at Oakland and had it at Riverdale. But that was I remember the really good years, and that was at Central. It's your place.
Oh, man, it was awesome.
And the crowds were unbelievable. And if there's one thing about progress, and I know the middle schools had to come, and they've got their own tournament now and everything, but wasn't there just something special about that county elementary tournament?
There was. And we started host. Well, I don't know. I guess you started hosting over there.
Yeah.
After we started the James Hale tournament now that he and Billy Williamson started.
It was, I tell you, I remember the hospitality rooms were just unbelievable because the schools would challenge each other
Big time.
and show you how we used to evaluate our teachers. I made a teacher hire because she made the best homemade rolls ever. Valerie Lyons, and she was one of the best teachers I ever had. But I hired her because in the hospitality room, I'm telling you, her homemade rolls were awesome. And I told her, I said, the only requirement is you got to make me some each year. No.
But I love that honesty right there. That's pretty awesome story. I know I hired people if they could sing, if they were talented, because I had that talent show at the end of the year, and I'd go, by the way, my last question is, have you ever danced, sung, or, anything like that? And but did you, I'm getting off the track, but anyway, did you hire people, when you do hiring, didn't you look at their personality is a big key? I mean, that's the number one thing.
Yeah.
You had to make sure they could get along with young people, and with the rest of your staff as well.
Amen. Yeah, that was some problems too.
Linda Hodge was my secretary for years, and
she's a gem.
She was awesome, buddy. And I tell you, if they didn't pass her test, because they would come in, and before they came to me, Linda would sit there, and of course, they would strike up a conversation. But after I interviewed them, I'd always ask Linda, "What do you think?" But if they didn't pass her, there was no way I was going to hire.
Well, we go to that old story. The most important person in your building is not necessarily the principal; it's the secretary and the bookkeeper.
You better believe it. Yep.
That they can sure keep you from avoiding real problems.
I'm telling you, if it hadn't been for Linda Hodge, I don't have any idea. Because, buddy, she kept up with things, and she dealt with people as good as anybody ever could. And she headed off so many problems. She would screen your phone calls where and they're just valuable people, and it's like we talked about, everybody in that building. And I tell you, I hate the way they're doing the cafeteria now, because everything's government bought, everybody does the same thing. We all remember when we had home cooked meals in the cafeteria.
Oh yeah, those are the days.
Oh man,
yeah.
Rachel Morton was unbelievable.
Yes, sir.
Her staff could make a meal at Central Middle and Central High School. Miss Reeves, Sue Reeves, at Central High School.
Luckily, I had Rachel in my church, so I got to sample a little bit of that on the weekends. But what a gem, and she thinks the world of you, by the way. And you had. If you can get a good cafeteria manager, that's another issue that really we overlook, because they have to deal with the public a lot too. A lot of people don't understand that, but
Right.
About charges and that kind of thing, and it can make your life miserable if you don't have one that's good with people.
Well, I always had a thing that they used to tell you that, hey, your cafeteria account can't go in the red. It's got to be in the black.
Right.
But I always told Rachel and the other one, when I was at Oakland, I said, I don't ever want a kid to go hungry. But they would always feed a kid, find a way to feed them. There were a lot of kids just didn't have the money to do it. And it wasn't even fault of the kid that didn't have it. It was because of the parents. But, one thing that I think back that really made it different, I guess, in our day, is that everybody's parents, they had two parents mostly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, I look at Central Middle School now.
And one of them usually stayed home. The mom was usually a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
Usually.
And the daddy was the butt kicker, buddy,
Mm-hmm.
But I think now at Central Middle School, John Ace has done a phenomenal job out there. But we were talking one day, and he said most of his kids have both parents.
Mm-hmm.
That makes such a big difference, I think.
It really does.
It's I don't know. I just hope and see the day that tide will turn. But I don't know. Just we were raising such a great time that, man, you look back and compare it to now, and it's unbelievable how bad we've gone in the bad direction. But it's still a great. Teaching's a great thing, but we've got to. I tell teachers they're their own worst enemy, because they put everything on Facebook about the negative part of teaching, but they don't ever put the great part of teaching. Man, I was so thankful, and I look back, I don't have any regrets, because I look back and think about the kids that I got to know, and the teachers and the custodians, cafeteria people I worked with, like Rachel Morton. No greater person in my life than her. And I just I don't see the negativity that you hear about now.
Well, if you want to pull out the negative, you can. If you want to pull out the positive, you can. And you do, and I do, and John does. We are of the thought that we need to pull out the positive. The positive can outweigh the negative if we'll let it. Right. But you take the news media, how great would it be for the News Journal to print one page a week with nothing but positive stuff on the front page.
And there's so much positive happening.
Oh,
I mean,
God,
it's 98% of the situation, but the 2% is what gets in the news, and that sells papers, I guess. But I wanted to ask you one thing. I know we're getting short on time, but you guys have remained in it, okay? I got out of it, and I had to take care of my boy over here, Brian. And for years and years and years, I've raised him pretty good, hadn't I?
Well, his daddy did a good job too.
And his daddy was a fine man.
Ooh, yes, he was.
But you went back and ran for school board and got it. And what is that thing calling you that makes you guys really want to do that?
Well, I'll tell you the thing is, I had some great ones, but Harry Gill was a phenomenal guy and superintendent. But Jimmy is Stan Vaught and I have been going to every school, trying to visit and meet all these people. We got so many schools, over 50 of them. I've never heard the first negative thing about the man.
Mm-hmm.
He's hired some phenomenal people at Central Office because he knows you got to have that staff, and they're great. And it's like Butch said, the city and the county, school board, school system work together close because we're all in the same business.
Yeah.
We help each other out. But I wanted to run and try to help Jimmy and support him in what he's doing because I know him and I believe in what he's doing. And, it's just it's the same challenge that Butch and I took when we first started teaching. We were thrown in situations where these kids had run off other people, but we didn't even think about that. We looked at the opportunity instead of the reason not to. We looked at the reason to do it. And it's the same thing about the school board. We're not looking at the reason not to do it. We look at the reason to do it. And
I think we both have looked at the positive side. And like Butch says, I was involved in public education for 41 years, and then decided I wanted to continue doing that a little bit. And I enjoyed every day of my 41 years. I never went to school when I regretted going, no matter how things might not look. But
even after I messed something up, you still wanted to come?
Even after you messed up, because I always knew even if you messed up, there was a way to correct it and get it better. But, that's it. And young people are, they are the future of our country, whether we like it or not. And how they are brought up and how things go in their life makes a big difference on how they are as adults. And
well, I'm thinking about my own self. I go, look, I've been doing high school sports for 28 years. That was my release, and that's why I still continue to do it. It's a way to get to know people, administrators, kids.
Well, you're good with people, and we appreciate it because hearing you and Brian on the radio, a lot of times it's just to hear people that do as great a job as y'all do, but you're from here.
Yeah.
You're home folks, and
we know a little bit about your background.
Yeah,
we don't tell it all, but we know.
Right. Yeah, but you don't hear about the fights in between commercial breaks or anything. Yeah, that works out well.
We got the goods on you in case you ever want to, But we could just I don't know. We were taught to be on time. We were taught to not be out. Butch and I both, I guarantee you, had so many sick days when we retired that it wasn't even funny because we just didn't miss. We weren't late, and that's the way we were taught, just like y'all. And reliability, and it's something we valued. And I don't know, it seems like that we've lost that with this generation of kids. I'd love to see paddling brought back to, talking about discipline in schools, because it took care of all the little stuff.
Yeah.
But if you could take that every day, you're a pretty good man.
Yeah,
and
right.
It may not have had a. They always used to say it hurts you more than it does the kid, and I used to tell them, don't believe that, buddy, because let me tell you, it makes me feel real good.
Guys, I appreciate it so much. I just can't tell you how much I appreciate y'all being here today and helping me out on this show. I hope we didn't talk too much education. I hope we did kind of keep it a little light, and we
appreciate the opportunity to be with you.
Yeah, we do.
It's good to see you guys, and we don't do that enough. They ought to have a principal thing where you can go get together every once in a while.
You know, you go back, and I know time's up, but you go back and think about the other people who have been principal administrators in either the city or the county, and how many of them are not here anymore.
Wow, that's true.
And we wonder about them.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if when you open a new place, there's two requests that Butch and I both have. One, you have an elevator. And second of all, you have coffee and donuts.
Yeah,
you know,
coffee and donuts is
I
a little
saw your new
lax.
coach's room in here, you know, and it's going to have all the coffee and donuts and
bells
hot
and
biscuits.
whistles. Has got it all. Yeah.
So, you know, we'd think the management here would get that arranged.
I almost brought donuts today, and I go, you know what? I don't need to worry about that. Brian will bring them. Nope, didn't happen.
No, you said not for those two.
I did not. But anyway, well, let's do this again sometime.
We enjoyed it.
I'll get to be a guest host every once in a while here.
It was fun.
Let me close up and say I'm proud of you and Brian both for the work that you do with WGNS and the sports world and young people. I'm glad to know that I had the association with you when Brian was in school and when you were teaching.
What did you know of his greatness back then? I mean, did you think he would rise to such greatness?
No, but I knew after the two of y'all became friends, you would bring him forth.
Well, that was a quick no, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know one thing.
The part about me I really liked.
The thing I admire both of y'all, you're great guys.
Well, thank you.
And,
thank you.
You know, it's just great to have you as friends, and I'm like Butch, we appreciate everything you do.
We'll watch his reaction when I give him the football schedule in a minute.
Okay. Well,
I've already told him about that we're in negotiations for sure.
If Rod Edwards ever misses, you know, I'll be glad to fill in, you know, because
I'm going to tell you, you just brought up another name. We talk about great people, great individuals. Rod Edwards, you can't beat him. You just cannot beat him.
First class,
yeah. He's got some pretty good daughters too that work in education too.
Yeah.
It just keeps spiraling. Sorry about your show, but it's really not much going on there.
Right.
But really, all the friends and the family and all coming down, there's still people out there. There's still a lot of hope and a lot of positive out there.
We hope we didn't hurt your ratings today too bad. But, you know.
It's okay.
If we need to stay longer instead of Brian,
I think we'll still be ahead of Rutherford Issues. I'm not sure. But it's up next, so don't go anywhere here on WGNS News Radio. WGNS for the Roundtable. This is John Dinkins. So long, everybody.
Portions of our programming have been pre-recorded. The Good Neighbor Network,